Hello and welcome back to the basement. In this episode, I'm going to try flat wound bass strings for the very first time. Okay, so quick history. I've been playing bass guitar for I don't know, on and off since I was 14 years old. A lot off, obviously you can see by my skill level, it's been mostly more off than on. But in that time, I've played exclusively round wound strings. I was talking to a friend of mine just the other day about the fact that I was going to try these, and like myself, he's like, "Man, bass strings are expensive, and if I don't like it, I'm going to be stuck with it till they wear out, which generally takes about 6 months for a good set of bass strings." So anyway, a while back, about the time when I was wrapping up the '73 Fender PJ project, I decided to take the dive, and I ordered up a set of Labella Deep Talkin' Bass flat wound stainless steel strings. This is a 105 to 45 set, which is basically a standard to a medium gauge, and we're gonna slap them on that '73 Fender PJ bass. The only thing that's changed since you've last heard it in the demo late last year, replaced the nut, took the original nut off and put a brand new bone nut on, and I did fix the saddle height for the bridge and took a lot of that buzzing that was happening above the 12th fret out. So thank you for those in the comments in the Facebook groups that called that out. I guess I was a little too excited to get that project finished to really pay super close attention to the setup. And I think the neck moved from when I first attempted to do a setup a little bit under string tension for the very first time. So I didn't go back and recalibrate it. But anyway, we're gonna slap these strings on, but first I'm gonna capture some just a couple of riffs using different techniques. I'll do fingerstyle, pick, and then my messed up version of slap. And we'll do a comparison test between the two sounds of the round wound strings, which are about 5 months old, versus a brand new set of flat wounds. So let's get after it. Now these are the round wounds. So the windings around the center core, they're round compared to the flat wounds, which is, well, you guessed it, flat, which makes a smoother surface. There's the traditional round wounds. Here's the flat wounds. Hope the camera picks that up. Big difference. All right, so this is literally my first ever set of flat wound strings on a bass guitar. I've never played a bass with flats on it before. And I gotta say, this feels so crazy to me. I've never felt a bass string that's quite like this. I mean, it's just completely smooth. It's nuts. All right, anyway, before I can play this thing for the very first time, I've got to get it intonated and I've got to get it tuned. So let me do that off camera and then we'll get a sound demo. All right, so I've been playing this for about 20 minutes or so. I just finished setting up the instrument. I've got the string action to right at 2 millimeters at the 12th fret, and I've got it intonated properly, or as close as I can get. But they feel really good. It's like if you've had a set of strings on there for a year that are well worn in. Like you could take them off and you would see flat spots from where they've been hitting the frets. That's about what playing round wounds or flat wounds feels like in terms of its contact patch with the fret. So I raised the action from 1.75, which is what I usually run my round wounds at, which is really, really low, it contributes to a lot of the fret buzz issues that I have. But I raised this up 1/4 of a millimeter, and it took care of most of it. It still feels really, really good to play. But man, they just feel so smooth. They feel and sound like a broken-in string, only more smooth to the fingers. It's like I don't know how you would get calluses playing these. So it does have a nice, deeper, richer, warmer tone, kind of like if you rolled the tone knob all the way off and had like a muddy sound. Like that's where we're at. So if I roll the tone all the way up, this is a really, really hot set of pickups, and it's very, very bright with round wound strings. Not at all with these. Still have a little bit of fret buzz, but this neck and fretboard has issues, and we know that. Okay, and here's some bad slap technique. Here's a little strummy bit. With a pick. So, in conclusion, I think this is another sonic tool to have in the rack, essentially. So this is a completely different sound and a completely different tone, especially if I do. If I want to get that kind of reggae / dubstep sound, this is it. It's something I've never really tried to play before. So I think these are going to stay on the bass. It's just something else. So I like. Um, Problem is, I feel like I'm going to want another P bass now to keep one for round wounds and one for flats. Anyway, this is a lot of fun trying out stuff like this. So hopefully you found this a little bit of use. So if you're considering buying some flat wound strings and this is your only bass guitar, this gives you a little bit more context to see if it meets the sound that you're looking for. If you've got a set of really hot, really bright pickups, this will tame them for sure. Again, this is like putting a set of dead strings on that is ultra smooth on the hands. That's what I would equate it to. So if you're looking for something really, really bright with a lot of attack, flats are not for you. If you want something that's a little duller, richer, more warm for that particular type of music, whether you're doing reggae or dub or ska or worship and you don't want it to be cutting if you happen to bump the tone knob or the treble way up, something where you don't need a ton of attack, this really holds the low end really nicely and puts that solid foundation. So I'm happy with this experiment. I think I'm going to leave these on for a while and see what it inspires me to play. So with that, thank you so much for watching this episode of The Basement, and we'll see you next time.